Hi everyone, it's Colin here. It's been a while, and of course, it's the 30th anniversary of the alien autopsy footage being shown around the world, August 28th, 1995. So I thought I'd do a video just with my current thoughts and the current people associated with the story, the runners and riders, as I like to call this video. Um, So we've got 18 names here, and I'm just going to go through them and my thoughts on these people and their relevance to the subject. Um, so let's get right underway. I'm going to start off with, we're going to do it alphabetically, so I'm just giving out these names based on their surname alphabetically. So I'm going to start off with Chris Carey. Now he was like the salesman distributor for the alien autopsy footage that Ray brought in, and kind of reached out to Chris a couple of years ago, and to be fair, he actually did reply, and via Facebook, and I thought I was getting somewhere, and then as soon as I asked some questions, I never heard her back. He just refused to reply to me, if it seemed to be going well. But hey, what can I say? If you don't want to imply that there's some conspiracy and you don't want to talk about something, then hey, don't ask, don't answer straightforward questions, because he wasn't the only person. Get onto Gareth later, but very interesting, because he would have known as much as anyone. He'd seen first autopsy footage, and he's in the thick of it really. So why would he clam up over it or not even answer questions? So that's Chris Carey then. Character 2, we have, I mean, it's a joke really, but I mean, I have to mention it because it's came across, this name was dropped later on by Spiros, and this person called Moose Carlson. Now, Moose Carlson was apparently some D-list actor or something from the 70s. And it's alleged that he was the cameraman that was filmed in that 1996 video, supposedly of the cameraman. But conveniently, Moose Carlson is no longer with us, so, it doesn't mean anything, does it? Doesn't mean anything. Just convenient that someone is dead, but you can't sort of cross-check it. So what relevance that has to the subject, I don't buy that. But that was that person at all. He had a prosthetic nose and all this nonsense, just rubbish, and an embellished story. But Gary and Spiros went to see this person, or they saw him in LA or something and dressed him up, got him off the beach or something. He was some bum or tramp, but absolute nonsense. Can't prove anything regarding that. So another person of little relevance, but hey, his name's out there, so you have to address it. Next one, we're going to go on to another, similar thing, really, even maybe less credibility. Although he's still alive, it was the one mentioned in the 2006 Alien Investigates. Trevor Chelsea. Now this guy works at Butcher's in London. And his claim to fame was on that documentary was by saying that, yeah, John Humphreys, who supposedly made the alien, he confided in him that, the bits of meat he was using was to make an alien and film it in a top secret film, apparently, according to Spiros, which was supposed to be watertight secret. So quite why John would be telling someone that, he was using these animal organs to film the alien autopsy just defies belief. So another suspicious character. Don't buy that at all. Looks like I'd go to far as say that he would have been paid off, given some money. Say this, say John, whatever. Don't buy that. It just seems like absolute nonsense. If I could have been bothered, I would have gone and seen him. But what a waste of time. I reached out to him on Facebook. He doesn't seem to have a social media page, but doesn't seem interested in contacting me. So if he doesn't care, then I don't care about him. So that's Trevor Chelsea for you. Next character, one of the most controversial characters in the whole subject, arguably what could be the most potential biggest witness to the whole case, if you believe the hoax narrative, Georgina Artemis Gamak, woman of mystery, so mysterious that you can't even find her anywhere on Facebook or social media. Her name's out there because obviously you had to have supposedly someone who had a house in 1995 in Camden. So it's her real name, unless, you're lying about putting your name on the house deeds or whatever. But this woman's more mysterious than the supposed alien autopsy cameraman. She's never come forward. She's never said anything. She seems to be accountable for so much in the case that you just have to laugh at it, really. I mean, if you're a skeptic, you would say, they've got us on this one because this woman hasn't come forward. She supposedly knows how to do, I don't know what, all about autopsies in the 1940s and how to write in a 1940s style, or her mum did or something. And what is it? Oh, it's just biggest load of nonsense you could, apparently she works in government or something and she's scared to come forward or something ridiculous like this. But she knew that MJ12 would be surgeons and not pathologists, and she knew all this apparently from something. And it's just crazy stuff. It's just, I mean, if you're a skeptic, I would be crying, because that just doesn't add up, I'm afraid. Someone who claims, that Spiros claims, has got photos of behind the scenes of the alien autopsy, cast iron proof that she made it, that Spiros shot it. Just another tall tale. Absolute nonsense. Does she even exist, I wonder? Why would she not come forward? It's just ridiculous. If it was the other way around, and people had a field day saying, "Oh, cameraman, why isn't he not coming forward?" And that. But that was always the agreement, that he wouldn't reveal himself. That was the whole reason that he would sell the film to Ray. So for the other side to offer up this genius woman, mastermind behind Spiros with all this other information, very conveniently won't talk. That's a major plot hole in their story. And they know it. So we'll see, won't we? She's not going to come forward, I bet you. It's a joke, isn't it? Hilarious. Next character, we got Kit Green. Mentioned Kit Green because in 2019 there's email chain of correspondence, Ed Mitchell and other people talking about how Kit had seen the alien autopsy in the 80s when he's worked for the CIA. And of course that brought a lot of attention to the alien autopsy subject, because it validated that there was a reality to it, as he said in those emails. But the problem Kit Green had was there was no cover-up until 2006. And his emails went back to 2001. So those were his thoughts at the time. But of course he can't walk it back when he was confronted with that in 2019, because the cover-up wasn't in place until later on. So it made him look rather foolish and awkward for those covering it up. So he was caught between a rock and a hard place, wasn't he? He can't refute that. He walked it back, implied that, oh, maybe it was a hoax, maybe it wasn't what I saw, whatever, doesn't really matter. But the fact is, that's what he said in 2001, before there was a cover-up. And that caused a lot of problems. So people behind the cover-up. Then we got John Humphreys. Trouble for John is he's not a good liar. He couldn't lie his way out of a paper bag. If you're an artistic person, you find it very difficult to lie. It's probably why John's only done, what, I don't even think he's done barely one interview since 2006. He appeared on that Amen Investigates. He looked like a bag of nerves on that. You could see through him. He wasn't telling the truth in any way. And maybe that's why he doesn't do any interviews. Because when you are an artistic person, like sculptor and that, then you're not used to having to lie to people about big things, about the greatest hoax of all time. It'd be a feather in his hat, wouldn't it? The greatest hoax of all time, his greatest work, body of work. What else does people know John for? Not much. Why would you not want to be singing that every day and telling people how you fooled everyone? Is he? He ain't stupid, is he? Because I would be. I'd be saying, huh, but he doesn't want to talk about it, does he? Because he can't talk about it. Because he'd fall apart. He's not a good liar. He can't lie. If you get all these people in the room, have you ever seen Spiros with any one of these people in his team talking about the alien autopsy? Not one of them. Not one, ever. What, 20 in 20 years? What does that tell you? Why would they not appear on the same camera? You have to think, you have to understand what's going on. It's all falling apart, and it's funny for me. I don't care. People, you know, I'm giving you all the information here. It's an open goal, but people still don't want to know. They don't want to accept that people lie about big things. And John, I'm sure he must think about it a lot every night, maybe, before he goes to bed. Because I would, because I wouldn't want to live with that shame. If you're lying to 8 billion people about something that happened on the military film in the 1940s, that's some cross to bear, isn't it? And maybe he's got enough money to do what he wants to do, but better to live your life with integrity and truth, isn't it? Isn't it? I think so. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe there's more to it. Maybe John was threatened. Who knows? Maybe he's just greedy. Maybe we'll hear one day from John the real story about what went down and why he was approached. Next one I want to mention, it's important to mention Cooper, this character, or Stein Lindemann, and how I got this book here. So much information there, validating alien autopsy, about the six-fingered beings and the debris footage. That's all I'm going to say, really. If you want to know more about that and Linda's interviews from 1998, it's your book. Read that, because it's an important one. And if you're not aware of that, you should read that regarding the alien autopsy subject. Okay, now moved on to Philip Mantle. Philip Mantle, alien autopsy investigator, brought out a number of books on the alien autopsy subject. All I hear from Philip is, you know, in promoting his books about how it's all a hoax, a hoax, a hoax, a hoax. Really? And yet we still, 30 years later, and we still haven't had any conclusive evidence that it was a hoax. We haven't been able to validate it. Yeah, fair enough. But you can't keep saying it's a hoax and keep saying it, and people might accept that. I don't know what his game is, to be honest with you, because he hasn't weighed up all the data, has he? There's lots of questions there. I'm a bit surprised he's not more balanced, and that he hasn't left room for big questions, and because it doesn't all add up, does it? So why is Philip? Why is he going along with the hoax narrative? It's not criticism of Philip. I think he's probably a good person. I'm sure he's done a lot of good stuff on the UFO subject, but he's wrong about the alien autopsy. I can tell you that much. Maybe it's a shame. Maybe it's a shame of Spiros Malaris. Maybe he, if it comes out and it was a lie, then that doesn't look good for Philip, does it? Because he endorsed that person. Spiros isn't going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Philip. Yeah, I lied to you. because that was what my job was. He's not going to say that, is he? He doesn't care about Philip. Just a useful idiot for him. They played him. I talked about this before. You know, when he came round to his house and he had all those materials for us. It's there. It's so obvious. He won't like me for saying that, but I don't care. It's the 30th anniversary. The mystery hasn't solved. It hasn't been resolved, has it? It's been going on for a long time. We would still be talking it now, isn't it? 30 years later, it's still going on. Mysterious piece of film. Military film, 30 reels. Was it 22 reels of film? First autopsy. Why is not people talking about the first autopsy? I said in my group, bring out the first, show me the first autopsy, and I'm wrong. Show me the incorrect medical procedure that meant that film had to be shelved. There's no skin off Ray's nose. He said it's all a recreation with some genuine images. So why would he not? He hasn't got that film. He hasn't got the other film reels. If you think that he's still got these film reels, it's just crazy thinking. So the real thing is the first autopsy, isn't it? Why not show it? There's nothing to lose. It's either a recreation or a hoax. It's only bad news if there's stuff in there that actually proves it's real and not a hoax. And more sensational footage, more shocking. And they don't want you to see that film, and they want you to not talk about that first film that they saw, because it's actually one of the keys to this whole story. But we will never see that again. I'm happy to be proved wrong. 30 years later, yeah, bring it on. I'm ready for it. But it ain't going to happen, is it? And that's sad. Because they covered it up. All those reels from the other autopsy that only a few people saw. People like Maurizio Beata, Colin Andrews, Philip himself and his wife, Reg Presley, Christopher Carey, Ray Santilli. They would have seen it. Gary would have seen it. How could he not have seen it? And yet he denies it now because something changed, didn't it? So yeah, Philip, it wasn't a hoax, and I hope one day that you see that and you won't be angry at me. It's not my fault. The real people you should be angry at, people like Spiros and John, because they played you. And Ray and Gary, of course, because they changed their story. But was that really their fault? That I believe they were sincere in the beginning. So next character, Peter Molaris. So apparently Spiros' brother, another mysterious character, not on, no social media, it would seem. Spiros says he fell out of him, one of the people in the room, because they have to account for all the people in the room, don't they? And that's their major Achilles heel, having all these people in the room. If they could just have 2 people in the room, they would be a lot more comfortable. But they can't, and that's why you'll never hear any of the stories from the other people in the room, because their stories won't match. And they're probably rubbish liars anyway, because they have to remember something that they never did. Peter in case. He won't come forward, will he? It's more on his life worth. This brings us on to his brother, Spiros. Well, what can I say? What can I say? Pathological liar, I reckon, yeah. Pathological liar, narcissist, loser. That's just his good points. You can't take anything that person has said or has ever said seriously. He was inserted into that, wasn't he? With his connections in the magic circle. They needed someone like that, or someone like a model maker. He's a joke, isn't he? And what's even more funny is, after he was inserted in the alien autopsy story in 2007, well, 2006, 2007, things, when I did my research into him, things came up that, were very, showed him to be a very dubious person. And that was after he was inserted. So God knows what he was like before all this happened. If you go back to 95, what was he doing then? Got no credibility, done nothing before, done nothing since. Just seems an angry man. But when I sort of debate him, he just doesn't, he's got nothing, has he? And I think he must have some intelligence there. So in many ways, he knows it's all over. As I always say, it's game over. But he won't accept it, will he? Because he feel like he's been backed by people high up in the pyramid. And he thinks he can't lose, but he's losing, isn't he? And it's a sad thing for him. Because I'm not sure where you go after that. When you've lied to 8 billion people on the planet. That's serious stuff. It's embarrassing. And no one wants to validate his story, his team. I'm sure they would like them to, but they can't. Because any of these other people have no integrity either. Just put their name down as being involved. I don't know what else to say, really. It's just hilarious. I don't know how people give him credibility. You really think he made that film? All those films? What is he? On his own blurb, he calls himself producer, director, film editor, costume designer, prop builder, set designer, set builder, prop buyer, special effects designer, cameraman, casting director, conceptual artist, and executive producer. That's from his own words in his own little pamphlet here, which I went to in London in 2017. You really believe that? And yet he hasn't been able to prove anything. I just find it sad. Surely he's got something better to do with his life than cover up this stuff. But then, I don't know. I guess that's the highlight of his life, really. And maybe he feels that makes him special. And that's okay, but I think it's sad because you have to have integrity and be honest. Because people will turn against you at some point. And you'll have to answer for why you did these things and what you got out of it. Because you're not doing it for fame. There has to be some money involved, doesn't there? How can there not be? And then we move on to Mike Maloney, who was an interesting person, who he was like a chief photographer for the Mirror. I think he collected over 100 photographic awards, and he claimed in the 1970s he visited Disney in California, and he met some of the animators there. He was invited back to the house by someone connected with these animators, and was shown movie footage of an alien autopsy that looked like the same room and the same being, and maybe even more horrifically that one of these beings was on the floor, still moving. Because with autopsies, if it's important that you autopsy, especially for beings like this, you would want to autopsy them straight away. But these beings lived for a month, didn't they? There was one died at the scene, so we know there were 3 from June the 1st, and there wasn't the autopsies, I think were, July 3rd, 4th or something. So were the gases in the stomach as a result of that when they died? Probably. I don't think that's anything to do with the crash site. It's interesting, the Cameron statement, which I posted recently, that wasn't actually mentioned in a statement, but on the video they talk about they were wearing uniforms, which so it makes sense. They would have these uniforms on, tight-fitting clothes, which you hear about. They wouldn't be running around naked, would they? Yet Mike saw this footage, which validated that it was And this was in the 70s. It's in his diary. I mean, is he making it up? He's got more integrity in his little finger than Spiros has in his whole body. How do you account for that? So he's lying, is he? If you're a skeptic, he's just made that up. He's got an OBE or something. Yeah. Come on. Let's get real here. A lot of people have seen footage of this before. It's even in Philip's book. That's why I find it hilarious that he can't deal with it. How does he account for these anomalies? This was in the 70s. Saw footage of the Santilli being on film. Same place, same room. Reg Presley, then next one. It's a shame Reg's not here because I think he's a very important person, and people just ignore that testimony in that book. Wild things they don't tell us. It's one of the most important things regarding alien autopsy. I never heard Philip mention it once, as if it didn't exist. And yet, Reg was closer to Raven just about anyone, as far as I'm aware. And the story in there about T42 and the people visiting his office and the showing of the film. Reg wouldn't have printed that in the book if he hadn't been told that by Ray. Be interested to hear what Ray says about that now. I'm sure he'd probably deny that conversation even happened. But it's important, isn't it? And Reg was there and saw the first autopsy as well. And I trust Reg Presley than any of these other clans. God bless Reg. Okay, next one, Ray Santilli. Well, where would we be about Ray? I mean, I'm worried about Ray. Do you remember that song? By the Hoosiers. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because without Ray, we wouldn't know about all this. So, in a way, he's a hero. But you can't go up against the man, the hidden hand, the powers that be, can you? You can't market a military film from the 1940s with 22 film reels, 2 autopsies and a debrief because you're going to get into trouble. That can't be done, not in 1995, not even in 2025. People don't want to know about that because it means history's wrong. We were lied to. People are waking up that we've been lied to about a lot of things. And it's sad, isn't it? It's sad the world we live in. That these beings, you talk to psychics, you watch the film, remote viewers, they tell you what's real. They'll tell you that these beings were experimented on horrifically, tortured. Are you surprised? Are you really surprised what we were doing to our own soldiers during testing of the atomic bombs in the 1940s? It's no surprise. It's sad, isn't it? But that's what happens. The unexplained, the mysterious. But Ray never lied. 100% believe he was there in 1992 and he saw what he saw. And that's why he wanted to get the money ready and market it, because he didn't know what it was. Who can blame him? People would do the same, but when you go against the powers that be, there's only going to be one winner there. But not always, because eventually the truth will come out. And things like this, people will look at in the future and they'll understand that they were lied to and things were twisted and everything was back to front and the world was quite a sad place because the lies of the few ruled over the many. Because you can't start thinking that we're alone, that there's more to life than your humble day job, worrying about bringing up your family and stuff like that. Never before has there been such an interest in the UFO alien subject, what it means. So yeah, thanks, Ray. We don't know. Obviously he was made to change his story. That's my narrative, 2006 with Gary. Gave him some wriggle room, say it's a recreation, so you're not totally strung up. Make a film about it, Ant and Dec, do the Yeoman investigates, job done. Problem you have, it doesn't all stick together, does it? Everything that happened before in those 10 years, too many witnesses, first autopsy didn't add up. And it still doesn't add up, and that's why it's so awkward for Ray to talk about it now, and Gary. But without Ray, we wouldn't be here talking about it now, so he was the right person at the right time to bring that information forward. And I think he has got protection, as much as he's got dark people bending his ear. It's not impossible to rule out that he also has positive groups looking after him. I don't think he would have made it this far without that. And maybe more come about that in the future. I think it's going to be one of the important things as we get closer to some revelation about being alone and stuff. Bob Shell validated a lot of the film photographic expert talked about the sign Kodak Super XX. But where is he now? He's languishing in prison because he gave too much credibility to it, didn't he? He did even validate a lot of stuff. Such as the age of the footage. And the idea it was just some film that Spiros had got, like a baseball film, and that's what he used, just nonsense. And it's people like Bob, I believe, are being punished, so as a warning to other people to not step over the line, because you're going to end up doing 32 years because you've given some drugs to your young girlfriend on a photo shoot and she mysteriously dies and he gets done for manslaughter in a dodgy trial that went on for 5 years. And he's got his own website, Bob Shell Truth, you can look into it. This is a guy who worked for intelligence agencies and was known by them, but he was stitched up. Look into it for yourself. Another sad story about how the dark ones clamp down on people who want to bring some light into the world. Gary Shoefield, so the other half, went out with Ray in '92 to Cleveland, Ohio. I think he knows much more than he says. He certainly seems to have walked back stuff, not even seeing the first autopsy, he says now, and going along with the Spiros story that they went to LA and all this stuff. So, but again, he's compromised, isn't he, like Ray? So I feel like, him and Ray, no different. Both been stitched up, haven't they? Can't refute the narrative that it was a recreation. Even though in the beginning it was all real, wasn't it? At what point were the films taken? Too many people had seen it. It transferred it to video already, so. But there comes a point where he could no longer validate it because, one, he would never have the film, and two, he would never be allowed to validate something like that. So they had a big problem. 10-year problem. If they just left it alone, then it would maybe be more interesting. But when you try and cover up, it's actually makes it even more. It's like a double whammy. Not only have you got footage of an alien autopsy or dissection in the 1940s and questions about our own history, suddenly you've got huge amounts of money being spent on the cover-up, making motion picture films and documentaries, saying how it was all a lie. When people are questioning things, it's not just this subject, is it? There's lots of things that are mysterious and conspiratorial in the past. And what happens when they all add up together? People aren't going to tolerate it, are they? They're just going to have had enough. So where does that all leave us? It means we're at the end of something. Trust in the powers that be that run this planet. I know that much. But who are these people anyway? That's another talk. And how have they controlled everything for such a long time? Greg Simmons, person whose only claim to fame is that he was a soldier apparently in the debris footage, and maybe one of the people in the lab, called out because his hands. I'd like to, simple request. Show me your hands. This is back. It was a simple thing. You can do that online. It's not rocket science, is it? They were interacted with me. Didn't want to talk. Apparently, Spiros's friend. Sure he is. But those photos in the book don't validate his hands as being the same as that soldier's. It's hilarious. If I hadn't put all this pressure on, that book would have never come out. It was supposed to come out, was it 2007 or something? When did it come out? I don't know. 10, 12 years later or something. It's got no credibility, this person. He wasn't that soldier in that film. Doesn't want to validate his story with Spiros. Doesn't want to appear on camera with him. As I said before, not one of them have appeared in camera. Again, you have to say, why is that? We're getting to the end now. We've got Clifford Stone, which I posted something last night, very important. Maybe people weren't aware of it. Clifford Stone put porn in account. He was on the original Alien Autopsy video, having seen footage looking down at a theatre, Fort Belvoir, 1969, Virginia. He thought the science fiction movies being shown to people in a room. I believe he spent like 5 days in incarceration, tortured more or less, for seeing stuff that he saw in 1995, but back then in 69. Someone I met. And a lot of people will know that his son died in a mysterious motorbike accident. He was only 19, and it was 10 days before The release of the footage in 1995. 18th of August 1995, his son died in a car, in a motorbike accident. And Clifford himself, if you look at what I posted the other night, with extracts from his book, we were suspicious of that. And what was he doing at the time? He'd been filmed this interview, not in only this video, but on the follow-up one, which again was very mysterious, isn't it? Spiros' follow-up documentary came out in 1996, never marketed. Pro-alien autopsy, everything in that pro-alien autopsy. I mean, you think, well, yeah, well, it would be, wouldn't it? But if you want to make such a lot hard work into a film such as that with all these interviews, including Clifford Stone and all these experts, why would you never show that film? Something happened, didn't it? At what point? Was it 1996? I think it was, because we had the cameraman's interview in 96. So something happened then in 96, didn't it? I think we can nail it down to them. I think stopped Clifford from speaking out, but it would have been a threat to many others. I'm sure Ray would have been aware of it, and Gary, Christopher Carey. It's fear, isn't it? It's a great control. It's a great control mechanism. So God bless Clifford Stone, because I think he was honest and sincere in what he said. And Spiros would later go on and attack what he would ridicule Clifford Stone, which is a far cry from the tribute at the end of the video. So what happened there? Dedicated to his son. What does that tell you? Brings us on to the last person, Gareth Watson. A bit like Christopher Carey, someone I reached out to. Was open to talk. And again, gave me loads of questions, very good questions. No reply. Nothing. Supposedly the man behind the viewing window. If you look at it, it doesn't even add up. Even how old was he at the time? Seemed to imply because he had a pair of eyebrows dark enough to be similar to the person behind the viewing window in the surgeon's mask, but if you look at his body shape, it doesn't match. So who are they trying to kid? And didn't he go to Russell School anyway? Known military intelligence recruiting place. Oh, I bet he got a job in Gary Shuver's office. I'm sure he was inserted in there. Because he was in 2006 documentary, wasn't he? I never bought that. And he won't talk, will he? Because he lied. Pure and simple, he lied. Like a lot of people in this. You either lie or you get threatened. And then you have to change the story. Because they can't have you believing in an alien autopsy film, dissection from the 1940s. 22 reels of it is real. And I missed out someone. An important person. Volker Spielberg. He supposedly put the money up for the footage. But was silenced in the early days, 1995. Took him out. Never heard from him again. Why? Why was he such an important person that you can never hear from him ever again? French station doorstepped him, and he was very angry, wasn't he? Clearly, he'd been spoken to by someone. Because why would you not talk about it? Even if it's a recreation, you would say, well, why not? What's he got to lose? But if you never hear from him again, that's rather sinister, isn't it? Some people say, Spiro says he's that he's dead. Well, I don't. Well, who said that? Where was he getting that information from? It's on Facebook, but you can't contact him. Again, these people don't have a voice, do they? I'm the only one who seems to be able to have a voice because it doesn't add up. People might think I'm a conspiracy theorist. Well, I'm only a conspiracy theorist based on the facts of this case, and it stinks to high heaven. And I hear there's going to be a documentary or three-part documentary, and I hope they do a good job at looking into all this, because there's an open goal there for someone to put the ball in the back of the net and call this out for the lies it is. But it was a conspiracy. It was a cover-up. The alien autopsy conspiracy. That's why I'm talking about it now, 30 years later. Even if people in the ufology don't want to know about it, even if they don't care. Because it's too difficult, it's too big of a rabbit hole to go through. And because if they talk to Ray now, he's going to say it's a recreation, as is Gary. And spirits will say it's a hoax. And I'll say it was a cover-up, a conspiracy. I'm closer to the truth than the other two stories. You can't see that when you haven't studied the subject. Maybe you haven't been in the group long enough. Because if it was a hoax, it would have been exposed now, wouldn't it? It's 30 years ago. Let's see that first autopsy. Let's see all the reels from that. 15 minutes worth. It's not going to happen, is it? Let's see the incorrect medical procedure they talk about. What's on that film that they can't show you? But it was a lie, but it was an incorrect medical procedure. It was a real film. Is that all they got? The debris footage. For me, real as well. Some set that was, wasn't it? A lot of hard work went into all that. Where's all the props gone? Where's the telephone gone? Well, Spiros has got a triangular Bunsen burner. Yeah, that means he made the alien autopsy film, basically. Yeah, good luck with that. So if you have these people on your show, you people like Spiros, you're going to have to question them, and because people will give these people a free ride. Because they're not asking the hard questions, are they? Because you don't want to insult your guests if you bring them on a show. But these people should be on trial. They should be questioned because their story doesn't add up. And you never see them appear with anyone, and I'll say it again. Where's this mysterious woman? Georgina. Hiding under a bed or something. She can validate the story in the blink of an eye, can't she? Apparently, that's according to Spiros. But it's not going to happen, is it? I know that Spiros will throw his toys out the pram again, and cry. But the real evidence is in that footage. And he doesn't even have the beta cam quality footage. It's hilarious. Why is he not in his book? Did he even one image from it? If you made that film, wouldn't you want people to see it in the best quality? because he's litigious, people are scared of him. You have to stand up to these people, otherwise you'll fall for anything. It's easier for people to believe that it was a hoax when the military were dealing with UFO crash retrievals, back engineering technology, dissecting beings. What do you think they're doing with all that now? Is it for the betterment of mankind or the betterment of a few people? I would say the latter. So that's it, really. Kind of sounds a bit sad, doesn't it? 30 years on. But the truth is that it is sad. It's a sad story. It's a cover-up. It's a conspiracy. Do we have to wait for the 40th anniversary before we get to the bottom of it all? Who's going to be the first to spill the beans? Because there's a lot of people not talking, I know that much. Their family, friends, do you think they weren't talking back then? Their wives, girlfriends, sons, daughters? What is a dead man's trigger anyway? You don't think people have recorded stuff? People are sitting on things? I'd get very nervous if I was involved in this cover-up, because you're living on borrowed time before the public are presented with the truth of the matter. So isn't it better to come clean now? Get it off your chest, because it's just going to eat away at you, isn't it? And if these are the people who are running a world, you know, I don't want a part of it. And that's why I'm doing this video. Because there's so many questions, it's just staggering. You could never do this subject justice. You could never do it justice in a 2-hour show, even 3 hours. Some hoax, isn't it? Philip's massive book, all for a hoax, all that information. I don't think so. Don't think so, and I think most people aren't stupid, and they know there's something to it. Even the skeptics. But it's painful. It's painful for them to accept that they've been lied to. But we have to move on, don't we? Reach out for a better world. Because I'm sure this won't be the only subject that will be reassessed in the future and found out that we were lied to in such a way that it's going to reduce most people to tears. People will be crying their hearts out. And it will lead to a divorce with the people running this planet. That dark father aspect of mankind. Talk about Star Wars. The Anunnaki. Anakin Skywalker, it's all there. Everything's connected. I don't want this to be a longer video than it is. So that's it. What happens next, we shall see. But I'll still be here, because I won't take threats like I have in the past. People send me messages, intimidate me, death threats. Don't scare me. You're the ones who are scared. I've got the power. I've got the truth. And that's it. Let's see what happens next. Thank you for watching. This is my 30th anniversary alien autopsy, in brackets, conspiracy video. And I thank you if you persevered watching all of that. And sorry it's been such a long time since my last video, but there you go. I think I'll leave it there. 55 minutes, that's probably long enough, even longer than I wanted to do, but I had to say it and get it off my chest. So thanks for watching. Keep following the page, Alien Autopsy Analysis. Invite your friends, because I'm sure this subject's not going away anytime soon. And yeah, wherever you are, have a good day, good evening, and I'll see you further down the road, and we will get to the bottom of the alien autopsy conspiracy. Thank you.